Hi, YouTube. I'm going to practice a little bit of my Greek on you. This was taken, and first, the Greek Septuagint, the actual original Bible, was smuggled out of Alexandria before I think it was, his name is Diotissimus, if I got it right. That could be wrong, but um, people that have studied the names more than I have will, I think it was Diamestris Oticris, I think is how you say, or Diamitris Oticris. But anyway, something close to that. He was able to smuggle those out that went underground into Florence, Italy. And after he died, there was instructions for them to be printed or, translated out of the Greek into the Latin, which we get like Proto-Latin for like the Catholic Church. That's why the Catholics know a lot more than the people within even Judaism or Christianity of the actual text, because that's where they migrated to from Greek when they burned the library of Alexandria. And this dude who smuggled them out of there had the front part of his um, museum was burnt. So he got out of there with his family and was able to preserve our texts, and that's what we're bringing to you. So this libre ir contra means face to face is best, and that's Greek. Um, and I heard somebody that tried to steal my numbers in gematria. I mean, a book, an ancient book that was written in by hand from the beginning of time for the true lineage of people that know what's going on versus people that don't, whatever. So, but my rating in the book of gematria that they took and tried to translate into Hebrew and English didn't work out very well for them. And I have several different names that can be looked up that connect to something that they have no clue even really exists, but it's coming out now. This is the apocalyptic time, and I'm thrilled. Oh, the funniest thing, that teacher of the ancient Greek, um, who actually taught those courses. He was the only one that taught those courses in any university. Isn't that amazing? Now he's doing it online for free. So people can get this information out to each other, and you're not just taking the word of somebody else that is in a society of pedophilia and subdued humans. You're actually getting the actual text you can read and translate yourself. And if you're not into learning the Greek alphabet, um, because there's in these texts there's words that are only in the ancient Greek that they have no clue. There's a whole nother story in there hidden that they don't know about. They don't even know about their own history. And if they don't care, when they come across that ancient text, that's where God deciphers where our heart is right there. How deeply do we appreciate the energies from um, the male and female, the original male and female? I'm not talking Adam and Eve. I'm talking Creator God. And when they don't appreciate the female spirit that works in mankind for your talents, your welfare, your, intelligence all around, those gifts that are given to you by the mother, that's where the determination of where your worth as a person and your soul, that's the determination factor. And if you have no time for the father in the situation and you swing the other way too hard, that's the determination within human beings on that side of the. So there you go. That's and it's true. Now I'm going to be able to prove it. I am proving it. I'm sharing videos that prove it, that the Hebrews can't keep up with, because their language isn't as skilled technically to tell the whole story. They look like a bunch of clowns. Like the fact when there were was some of the Israelites that went out to from Egypt into the Elephantine Islands, spelt like elephant, you know, um, they didn't worship. There was no Moses, there was no um, Messiah, no Jesus, no uh, there was Dionysus and Venus. They celebrated the mother and the father. After they went into Jerusalem, which is a Greek word, by the way, not meaning what they think it means, um, with their magi and their magic and their priest and what they would consider rites towards, like in the Talmud, what they do to little children and what they were writing to cover up from the true, um, trying trying to bind the energy of the muses that didn't belong to them. You know, that's what's going on here. And they're going to find out that, no, you don't have any magic. You can't steal from somebody that can actually control that and pretend to control that. And that's what people are going to learn. It's not funny. And what they've done with religion and what it actually is, what they have you celebrating in the, and even in um say the English Bible, it says right in there, and you're not going to hear any pastor or priest read this passage, but it's in there. Look it up. Christ cannot be found in the church. But people will call themselves the bride of Christ and the body of Christ in the body of the church. Whatever. So, yeah, if you really want to learn. Oh, and another very hilarious thing about the teacher of this ancient Greek, to be able to decipher who takes seriously the dark arts or not, clearly has stated that he's not a part of any cult. He does not want you or I or him to become any part of, um, when he hails Satan, he doesn't care, because he's not a part of any religion, including that. He's welcoming the people that are a part of the satanic congregation to partake in the ancient Greek, so they can learn how to decipher those two spirits within themselves and decide what they want to do with whether they want eternity or not. Because the gift of controlling the ionic life was given to the female. Eternal life comes from the Father, you know, And it's something they tried to take out of the woman because they knew she was born with it, but they can't take that eternal life out of her. And her statues and pictures are all over the world as proof as that, like nobody else. And they can't take that away from her because her and the Father are one like that. And they can't take God out of my heart either, no matter how they try. And I did find out one thing for me personally. There's a big difference between Satan, who I've always said is the lowest part of the Father down here to help his daughter, bride, whatever. Has nothing to do with Lucifer, the devil. There is a difference between the devil and Satan. There is. And that Satan, we all know, is a very recent term. And no, the devil and Satan are not the same thing. Satan isn't possessed with himself, but other people might be, you know, just like Christ isn't possessed with Satan, because the female spirit that carries Christ is her own self, you know. And that's what people are going to learn because they've tried to use magic and witchcraft and drugs and everything to try and contain that energy. And just for using it, I mean, if you're gifted, like if you can sing or play music and you're gifted from the female muse that gives you that gift, that's nice. This is the last time you'll ever have any female energy, any beautiful architecture, any beautiful music, and will not have the ability to create life as a co-creator. You're coming up. People on this planet are coming up to the end of time. That's what that is. Then left at your own devices without the ability to even, because I mean, laziness is at an all-time high. Everybody wants to be served by other people, and they're not willing to go out and plant a strawberry for somebody else. Why would you bust your back in the hot sun when you can have somebody else do that for you, and then pretend that there wasn't an energy that put that there for you to begin with, and just keep shoving shit in your face and not even knowing where that energy's coming from. And the most disgusting thing I think I ever heard was of people that were not actually eating food but putting it in their mouth to get the flavor and then spitting it out. It's like, what? That precious? Even if it was a taco chip, that energy from the sun and the moon and the stars and the earth and everything it took to make that, and you would take just the fat and the sugars out of it and then spit the substance of the material out. I was like, whoa, why even bother? You know, I think too that they should come up with just drops of oil that tastes like food, then have at it. But it has to have sugar and fats in it. So if you're eating like a cookie, you can get the sugar and the fat out of it and then spit the substance out. Whew, it's kind of like making feces in your mouth. That tripped me out. I was like, wow, haven't we ever heard of fasting? Why not eat that the fucking cookie and then fast the next day? I know there's some weird shit on this planet. I know that's a fact. But talk about a slap in the face to the entity that gave you that food. Talk about denial. And denial isn't just a river, right? Yeah. I bet you saw that one coming. And Lady Babylon isn't a whore either, and they're going to find out that that cup of her fornication that kings laid with wasn't a cup of filth. They made it a cup of filth. That ability to procreate and have um, uh, the feeling of procreation within yourself was a gift, but they turned it into the filth that we see all around us today. And then they call the mother of all a whore. Think God's mad about that? I know for a fact there's some wrath behind all that. Just like if a man or a woman have greed within themselves, say, or to covet something that doesn't belong to them, um, that burning within them is a hell of their own. You know, they're like living in hell with those desires. They're manic about it. They can't control it. It's out of their control. And it started because um, I'd agreed. It does make people liars and thieves, and that's where most people are in this world today, with that denial and that still quiet voice that tries to talk to people. She's sick of talking. Well, maybe not entirely, but she wants to talk to the right people. She's sick of the people that think that they're high tech in this world. That's what she's sick of. you know? Imagine this. Imagine like people at like MIT or whatever. Now they're saying how the universe was created and all this. Well, they can tell you. That's what they're saying. But imagine God looking at them and saying, uh, "Stop lying to people," you know. Or these people that think that everybody's born a female. No, that's not true either. You can feed that. That would be a beast. That would be feeding the beast. Just that, like women that get rid of their nurturing part, that's feeding the beast, you know? Yeah. For people who are keeping track, my youngest son did give me a phone number I could call him, but I'm really sick of people that take advantage of me. You know, I don't have any more words for that, you know. On that note, I don't care if I ever see people again. And a lot of mothers would be like, no, no. It's just like God telling the devil, like, hey, you're good at what you do, so I'm gonna give you a spot to do that. You know, simple as that. It's not like I'm dismissing somebody that's righteous in my life. That'd never happen. I would never, never ignore somebody with an innocent heart. Never. And if I find out that there's people that have those innocent hearts are being hurt, who's ever hurting them, you have a rude awakening coming. It's like the Catholic Church, for instance, and all these other churches that practice their ritualistic child predation. I'm coming after them in a big way, and it's going to be total exposure. And by the time I get through with Christianity and Judaism, which they're Zionism, it's all the same thing as Satanism. When I get through with their asses, they're going to wish that they never were born. So, true thing. Excuse me, I'm sitting here dusting my desk when I'm talking to you. I'm sorry. It probably was picked up on the microphone too. That was rude of me. Sorry about that. But yeah, yeah. Oh, and there's like Harvard scholars out there that took a basic course in ancient or in Greek, not even ancient Greek, but modern Greek to try and read the modern texts, and not the same thing. Uh, like I say, there's different words in ancient Greek that were translated out of the real Septuagint that are not in English or even Latin. Latin, you can sort of find it in the old, like Pro Latino, before that modern language out of the Greek, but it doesn't go the other way around. It doesn't go out of Latin into the Catholic Church, from the Catholic Church into Judaism, Christianity, and into the Greek. No, it came from Greece, and we're going to prove that. That's our text, that's our Septuagint, and we're taking it back. Those are the first Christian church were called pagans. I told you they went into Cromwell. There were people praising God in their churches when the Romans showed up and started slaughtering them and taking over their churches, you know. And it's true. There's a movie called Cromwell. Go watch it. This is your Christianity, you know. If you're not ashamed after that and it's still going on in the world, the lies within the text, what they have you believing, you know, not knowing the original sin was rape, child rape, to get those bodily fluids. Rape and murder has been going on, trying to produce a magic to try and create life out of something they don't understand because they don't have the original text and they won't study it. So there's people that say that they took like a course in Greek, but they're major in Hebrew. Your Hebrew's a very um, infant language compared to the original. And that's another thing that will be proven. People that teach to you in Hebrew are whacked in their heads and are not connected to God. They are not being led by the Christ Spirit. It's a fact. And if you don't believe me, you should look into what I'm saying. Go translate some Greek. You can have a computer do it for you. You don't have to learn it. Or you can listen to masters of that language reading the scriptures to you in Greek. You don't get any better than that for the truth unless you enjoy the unified, as in eunuch, type people reading you the fallacy of the dickheads that push that, leaving the woman out of the picture. If you're cool with that, well, then we all know what fence you're sitting on, so to speak, you know. So, yeah. Anyway, back to my youngest son, John, Nathan. Yeah, his friend, well, she's a lady friend, had gotten a hold of me, and I thanked her for her time for both of us, and I told him, tell him I love him, you know. I'll think about it. I'm thinking about it. I don't think too much about it, but yeah, I'm thinking about it. I know I'm not going to. No fucking way. No way. I'm sick of men that think that they have some gift from God and it's not the Spirit of God that they walk with. I'm sick of people like that, you know. Men and women thinking they're all going to marry Christ at a wedding party. Holy shit. Talk about a hijacked religion. You know, in ancient times, they celebrated the wedding party of the parents getting together to create life a few times a month. It wasn't just Christmas or Easter. It was like Friday nights. They'd get together and celebrate the great parents, parents. I know it's hard to swallow that that a woman would be in control of this world. People think uh, Satan controls it. Well, they're lucky that the female spirit refuses to carry that dark energy, but that's okay. She commissioned it to, well, a lot of people think there's hermaphrodites, but actually it's called the inability to create because he wanted her dead and he's going to be burdened with cleaning up of his own mess. That's fair. When you steal and lie about somebody and you try and kill them and you try and take them out of the story, it's fitting that you should clean up your own mess. And it's time for the real mom and dad to sit back and watch the show. Yeah, or not. I think mom and dad need to do like a waltz or a tango and turn on some music and just forget about all the little simple ways that people had tried to manipulate them and insert their egos within all that and claim their glory for their own and just say, yeah, that's okay. You created your own hell. Everybody does. Because their hell wasn't being celebrated together as a team, but the insertion of actual spells that were meant to keep them apart that could never work. Of course, they knew that, but to clean out the impurities in humankind. I think I might have told you this yesterday, I'm not sure, but that professor and another um, Greek student were talking about, they wondered what the word for um, man was in Hebrew, and they knew, don't get me wrong, but because we know it was an atom, it was Adam's a Greek word, Adamon. Um, but anyway, and that professor says, I think it's ish. Oh, that was funny. I've been saying ish a lot lately. Speaking of ish, I went on this one tarot card reading channel and I get a vibe that like I'm not supposed to insert my energy on anything that's demented to help a person or other people, but then my protective energy over people is painted as like what, I'm some kind of demon. Oh, you're just lucky I'm not. So I just backed myself off. It's like, yeah, I don't need anybody's tarot readings because I can make those readings appear anything I want through somebody else. So why would I want your reading? Let me read you a little foretelling for you. You'll cry about that feeling in the future when you don't have that feminine spirit to guide you. That's what you brought on, sadly. So, people like that. As you thought it was coming from a dark spot when she's in control of that dark harbor and nobody else. Anything that's on this planet like that is a gift. That safety when you're going through hell, it's not a masculine energy. And that's why most human beings are doomed. That's the true genocide of the whole thing. You know, there's going to be a little speed up on the situation, but yeah, and there is. Ultimately, Satan only gets his own, and the devil will be put in his place. And there are people with pure hearts and well meaning without ill will towards people at all, without wielding any kind of dark magic to make somebody to try and manipulate them or hypnotize them or anything. Yeah, there'll be a world without all that bullshit. It'll be a long, long time, but it will happen. Well, I'm going to get this uploaded. I really appreciate you joining me. I hope you look deeper into it. This isn't about me, or it might be, but this is about everybody out of my love. So I hope you are finally getting that. Um, Whether or not you find value in what I'm talking about or want me to have any other friends that you would share my information or my words, whatever you think is cool with me, whatever level you're on, I don't care anymore. Just have a nice day. Peace and love from Pine City, Minnesota, USA.